Hello everyone. I'm starting another reading vlog. I haven't filmed one in a very, very long time. But I'm in Pittsburgh this weekend with my dad because we're going to a Steelers game tomorrow, so I'm very much the filler child. Usually my brother would go to these games, but he's in midterms at college, so he can't make it, so I am subbing in. Very excited. It was a 7+ hour drive here, so that was a little bit rough, but we split it. It wasn't that bad. But yes, we just got to the hotel, went and got some food because we were starving. And what am I reading? What have I been reading? I am working my way through my October TBR. If you haven't seen it, I will link it below. Go check it out. I have read 2 of those books so far, and I'm working my way through this beautiful, beautiful book. Physically, I'm not that far, and then I don't know it's beautiful on the inside. But A Peculiar Peril by VanderMeer, of course. It is a YA book, which I find strange. It definitely feels more young adult, just in terms of it has a little bit more whimsy than the other books I've read by VanderMeer. And there's a lot of magical elements, where a lot of his other books, they have kind of the weird and wonderful, but a lot of it is rooted in like science gone wrong, or like a dystopian post-apocalyptic thing, where this is more like you go into like a Nanny McPhee style house and there are talking animals and talking plants, and we're following like a 16-year-old kid who his grandfather dies, and in his grandfather's will he says you can have the entire house and all that it holds if you come down and catalog everything I own. And so he goes down there, and it's a hoarder's paradise, but there are also some like weird clues his grandfather's leaving around the house, and it's very, very strange and unnerving, but also kind of fantastical and fun. So I'm enjoying it so far. Then, in this 7-hour car ride, my dad and I started listening to 11/22/63 by Stephen King, which was in my October TBR, so I am going to read it. And I was like, oh my god, it's perfect. We have a long car ride. Let's listen to an audiobook. And I looked at it, and it's 32+ hours long, the audiobook. So we won't even make a dent. I'm enjoying it. I like it for a car ride. If I was physically reading it, I would probably not be enjoying myself. It is like a time travel mystery solving, undo past wrongs kind of book. So it's supernatural, and it's like in Derry. So I just didn't expect that. I don't know if this is a known thing. Is this like this man? I will just explain the premise. So we're like 7-ish hours in. This man, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so complicated. The blurb makes it sound so convoluted, and when you're actually listening, the pieces and the players do come together, but it's still like, I feel like a lot of different plot lines are unnecessary. Right now, this man goes back in time to 1958 on a mission from a friend to prevent the Kennedy assassination, and then basically butterfly effect it all so that all these terrible things that happen in America don't happen. But this man who goes back in time also is helping out a previous GED student of his whose father, when they were children, killed his entire family and injured him, and now it has lasting consequences. So he's on a few different missions. And so far, the first 7 hours, we're like in Derry, and like Derry. Beverly is there, and it's, you know, he's talking about all the different Derry residents and how there's been a lot of like child murders, and who is it, and could it be the same person that he's going back to hunt on behalf of his previous student. It's entertaining for a car ride, but I do think that King just like, I don't love his writing style and like his voice. I feel like he explains a lot, and it's a lot like, and then he did this, and I felt this, and then I felt sick, and I puked. Like all that, it just doesn't feel like, I don't know. My dad, I think, is enjoying it because he thinks it's very nostalgic. He's a 60s baby, and he's like, oh my god, Moxie, that's like a disgusting soda my mom always drank, and then they were talking about like these comics, and so my dad's really into it, and he says he wants to continue listening to it now, so that's wonderful. I really got myself in for it. But yes, I just wanted to start this vlog here because my dad is downstairs figuring out the ferry, and otherwise I don't know when I would start it because he wants to listen to the book. So, okay, I will check in later. I am still in my pajamas and it is 5 o'clock at night. So, bye. Just woke up from a very long nap and now we just got dressed. We're gonna go out to dinner. We listened to a lot more of the King book. I'm not loving it. My dad says that he might try to collect his thoughts and share them with you because he is enjoying it. I feel like the book has taken a turn and is on a tangent or a whole other plot that I didn't think we would be focusing on as much, and there's like very little historical elements in the 1950s. Harvey Lee Oswald are really on like a side kind of revenge plot, which is just not what I thought it would be. But I read a little bit more Peculiar Peril, and it is bizarre. I am so lost and confused, but I think I'm still gonna enjoy it. So I just have to kind of like get my bearings, but it is very weird right now. Like next level weird. But we gotta love him. I have to go. My dad is waiting for me downstairs, and I am going to bring the camera just in case. My dad says we might go on like a little like ferry tour, something. I don't really know. He is in charge. Oh, he's in charge of planning, which is rare. So hopefully it goes well. The game ended at 4 and they won, so that's exciting. My dad was very happy. It was my first NFL game in a very long time. I think I went as like a really little kid. It was fun. It's fun to be there and the energy's fun, but there is a certain like, I don't even know the right word to say it. It's like a very, oh my head is like totally got off. A very specific type of like male energy that just like pervades the space. So it was fun. I don't think it's like my thing to go all the time, but it was very fun. And I'm having a fun weekend hanging out with my dad. So the game ended at 4 and then we're just like totally beat. So we went and got Moe's at like 5 o'clock and now have been just hanging out back in the hotel for the past few hours. Side note, I haven't been to Moe's in a really long time, but it is not even on the same level as Chipotle. It was like really not great. So we're just listening to more of 11/22/63, watching a movie, and we actually have to go to bed kind of early because unfortunately we were both working tomorrow bright and early. So we got like a late checkout, and hopefully I'm just gonna work in the lobby and then at like 1 o'clock maybe go to a Starbucks for the last few hours and then the 7-hour trek home. So I will probably continue this vlog and I'm gonna try to work out tomorrow at the gym because the gym's actually really nice. And this morning you just fell over. Sorry. But this morning I like kept turning off my alarm and it just wasn't happening, which is rare for me. Usually I'm up 6 a.m. every single day and do my workout before work or anything else, and I just was not feeling it. So tomorrow, back on the game. But we're probably gonna watch The Great British Bake Off or a history documentary, depending on what the mood is. But yes, we're gonna have a very, very early night. It's like 7 o'clock and we've been in bed for an hour, so. I thought I would just sit down and chat for a few minutes. I would like to get more comfortable doing that. And I started filming this vlog over a week ago now. Got back from Pittsburgh 6 days ago, and I just haven't had time to pick the vlog back up again. I am still reading A Peculiar Peril. It is a really big book. I'm, what, halfway? This book is so strange. And anything that I could tell you about the plot, like, you just shouldn't know these things because it's so shocking that I don't want to ruin it for you. All I can say is that the actual part at the house, what the synopsis says, that he's cataloging all these oddities at his grandfather's house, is like 50 pages, and then it is the craziest book I've ever read. There are doors leading to other places, and what you find on the other side of those doors, VanderMeer's imagination is like nothing I've ever encountered. It's awesome, actually, to see that kind of an imagination on a grown adult. I think that's a fantastic thing. And this is like a young adult book, or it's posing as a young adult book. I am not convinced of that title or of that category for this book. I mean, it's super disturbing, but in like a funny way. So maybe it kind of fits with that it has like a little bit of quirk to it, but it is really, like, there are a lot of horror moments in this book. But it's hard to get your bearings in this book because everything is so strange. But because I've read so many of VanderMeer's other books, he has like his go-to characters, some of his go-to themes that I am able to like pick up on those. So that's been really fun. Like he does have like his favorite creatures that he always talks about, like salamanders. They always make an appearance in every book. But it is like next level. What I think is really impressive, more than the storytelling, more than the plot that he manages to come up with, because you can just say it sounds like he got this idea from a really bad trip one night, and I think it's gotta have started that way, but I think he's built on it, and it is so much more than just like utter chaos. There are moments where it just feels like utter chaos and I literally don't know what's happening, but I'm finding my way through it. But what impresses me so much is his imagination with like physicalities of creatures. The descriptions in this book are crazy, and the way that he makes creatures and animals and humans and the things he does to them, I just don't know where he gets it. I think it's amazing. So this is nowhere near, at least thus far, is nowhere near my love of Bourne and the Southern Reach trilogy, but I'm really enjoying it. On the other hand, we are still listening to 11/22/63. There just are no words for me to explain how much I hate that book. I know I said at the beginning that I was okay on it. I was neutral. I hate it. I think the problem lies in the fact that nothing is happening that is actually interesting. So we have our guy, he's back in the 50s, and he is having sex, he's in a romantic relationship, he's teaching, he's talking to students, getting them on the right path. Like all of this filler bullshit that nobody cares about. And the actual historical elements are just lost. There's not enough of them. So much of this book is just taking up with him, like watching Henry Lee Oswald from, like he has a recorder in his house where he's listening to him from. And all of this is necessary, right? Like he's listening to him, he's plotting and planning when he's gonna assassinate him. but it's so boring to read, and all the other stuff about this guy's relationship with Sadie and their sex, the whole thing is bad. It's really, really bad, but I've also dedicated so many hours to listening to it, and that would make me feel better, but we're, I think, probably halfway because the book is so long, but it's awful. Truly. Truly awful. So if you love that book, I'm sorry. And I have enjoyed other Stephen King's books, so I'm not like shitting on him, but this book is, I have not one good thing to say about it. So I'm not doing great on my October TBR. Honestly, I haven't even had the time to read, which is sad because it's like my favorite thing to do. It brings me a lot of happiness and joy, but I really do feel like work is picking up so much, and I haven't had my weekends, and just things have been going on that I actually haven't had time to do the things that make me the happiest. So I think that's just sad. That makes me sad. So I do want to make sure I'm dedicating time to it, but it's also, it's hard because at the end of a day, like, I'm exhausted and I try to read and I end up falling asleep in 30 minutes. When I'm reading big books like this, I need more than 30 minutes a day. So I do want to make sure I'm prioritizing it. I have been watching more shows, and that's probably why. I usually don't watch Netflix, I don't watch shows, but I just feel like I've not been feeling great, so I'm watching shows that make me happy. Like, I got back into the Great British Bake Off, of course. I'm loving it. Giuseppe is fantastic. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. That just like makes me happy. And I was actually gonna restart The Borgias on Netflix, my favorite show, but that's when you know I'm like really going through it. Like, I've probably rewatched that series. It's really short, to be fair. It got canceled. It's really short. But I probably rewatched it more than 4+ times, and I've never been doing okay. So if I put the show on now, it's just, I've given in. So I'm holding out. But yeah, if you have any shows that just like are happy shows, like Dairy Girls, something like that, that is just for joy, let me know. But the Great British Bake Off is really a lifesaver. Okay, hello everyone. It has been another few days, and I decided to just make this like a big October vlog, reading vlog, rather than try to make a bunch of little ones. Oh, one moment. Good. Reading news. I'm in the same sweater because it's my new favorite one. I just got it, and today I am going to my brother's parents' weekend at school. We're gonna go to a football game, get dinner in the city. Should be fun. It's raining, so that's less than ideal. But in reading news, I don't even know where my book is. Oh. I have finished A Peculiar Peril. I don't have words. I enjoyed it, but I can't pinpoint my actual feelings on it because it was so shocking. There was nothing that could have prepared me for it, but I do think it has like the elements of what I most love about VanderMeer, like what he does with creatures and descriptions. And this book had a lot less, it is like a YA book, so there were more like silly moments and kind of absurd moments that aren't my favorite, and there was like a youthful energy to it, but it still was very disturbing. So probably like more disturbing, well, on the same level maybe as Born, but it was just so bizarre that I'm like in awe of his imagination, but also like, what's happening here? Are you okay? It's definitely the start of a series. I actually don't know if it's gonna be a duology or another trilogy. Oh, he wants back in. Freaking guy. Hey. Yeah, so let me just take you down here. This is easier. I want to sit down. Yeah, I don't know. I could actually look up when the next book is coming out or what it is, because it ends on like a cliffhanger, but also because everything is so weird, I'm not, sorry, you were tippy. I'm not searching for answers because I'm just like accepting it as it is, and I've given up. I think I liked it, but it's nowhere on par with my love of his other books, but that's fine. Actually, speaking of VanderMeer, just one more little note. Kieran just read Annihilation. I bought his, what is it called? We were talking about we'll read each other's favorite books. So I said, okay, go buy Annihilation, and he told me to get Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. So, an extraordinary novel, one of the most important to come out of the English-speaking world in this generation. Of course, it won the Booker Prize. Kieran, we get it. Booker boy, we get it. It sounds quite beautiful. And it does actually sound like something I would really like. So thank you, Kieran, for turning me on to this. Speaking of, he just read Annihilation, and I think he is... Actually, I can't ever predict his reactions. I just know that right now he is overwhelmed and confused and like, what the fuck just happened to me? But he said that he's filming his review. He filmed it yesterday, so if it is up by now, I will put in the description whether or not it does me dirty or if I agree with it. But he said he already purchased Acceptance, which is the second book, so I feel like that's a good sign. But I have started White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi, and I am loving it. October has been a really mixed bag. I'm still fucking listening to 11/22/63, which, guys, I know that I should have stopped listening to it by now. So if you say that, I know I agree with you, but I've dedicated like 25 hours of my life and I'm finishing it. Like, I need to know what happens, even though I have not one positive thing to say about the book. But I also feel like the mechanics of the book don't make, sorry, you are really bothering me. How you're tippy? Or, okay. The mechanics, my deodorant is just, it's not good for the aesthetic. The mechanics of the book don't make sense, because in my mind, this man, Jake Ebbing, has gone from 2011 into the 1950s, and now he's been there for 4+ years on this mission to kill Lee Harvey Oswald, to stop the butterfly effect of everything that happens in the US post the JFK assassination. So that is like our framing story, but the actual like bones of the book, I feel like, are not that at all. It's all about his teaching, his relationship with this woman, Sadie, and I just don't care about any of it. But also, like what I was saying, the mechanics of the book, in my mind I'm thinking, if you're immersed in this other time and place for this period and length of time, there's no way that you're like maintaining, at least what I would think, is there's no way you're maintaining like your identity as Jacob Ebbing if you're living for 4+ years in the 1950s as George Amberson. You know, I'm thinking of like the Stanford prison experiment, that humans would naturally, no matter how hard you're fighting it, take on this other identity and almost like not be able to control. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Does this bother anyone else, or is it just me? But yeah, I freaking hate that book, but I have started White is for Witching, and I'm loving it. It's so atmospheric and creepy, and I love the different narrators. So we have the two twins, or they're twins, correct? Miranda and Elliot, yes, they're twins. So we have their narration and their voice, and then the actual home that they live in that has this ugly, oppressive, controlling presence and personality is also a narrator. So at the beginning, it's labeled as like Miranda's voice, Elliot's voice, the house's voice. And then after like the introduction, all of these different voices, at least where I am now, are not called out, or you have, as a reader, have to figure out who's speaking. And I predict this will get a little bit confusing to figure out as all of these voices merge and get confused and we don't know who's who. But there's already a lot about like eating disorders, so definitely that is a trigger warning. But I am really enjoying it. So yeah, I feel like I've had a mixed reading experience in October. Some that I have really not enjoyed, but two I would say are really good books. But yes, I actually have to go. We need to go we decided not to tailgate, I think. It's just not our vibe, and it's also raining. So we're just gonna get sandwiches and then go to the game. And then my sister made a reservation at a good Italian restaurant for this evening. So I'm gonna go now and check in with you later. All right, goodbye.